Hi, everybody. This is Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback here. And we're going to be talking right now about how you can reduce your RMDs. RMDs are something you might go, I don't even know what an RMD is. It stands for Required Minimum Distribution. Required, I'll repeat it, minimum distribution. It's one of those nasty things you got to take when you hit 72. So if you have an IRA, 401k, 403b, 457, when you hit 72, you got to take income out every year. And you might say, well, I'm not 72 yet. Why do I care? Because your RMD is something that you are going to have to prepare for if you have a 401k and you're still working. So when you contribute to a traditional IRA, you make a deal with the devil, I mean Uncle Sam. You can get a tax deduction now and tax deferral on any earnings in your IRA. It also goes for an annuity too. An annuity is a tax-deferred instrument. However, eventually your favorite uncle will get their fair share and require funds to come out of these accounts. That is when you must start to take money out, called the RMD. You may not need the money and you may not want the hit tax, but you're going to get the tax hit anyway. Here are some strategies that can help you reduce your RMD. But before I get to that, I want to give you a little tip on your IRAs or 401k. If I was a farmer and I got a knock on the door from the government saying, hello, we're here to help. And we're going to make a deal with you. In fact, you're going to be able to plant a wonderful harvest. You're going to get to tax the seed, or you can wait till you tax the harvest at the end of your working season. That's similar to the discussion between taxing the seed or taxing the harvest when it comes to IRA planning. In a Roth, you're taxing the seeds, and they're growing big, and then the growth, the tree or the produce, is tax-free. In an IRA, it's quite the contrary. You're not taxing the seed. You're not taxing the growth. You're taxing the harvest. Now, I'll be, very blunt for you. If tax rates remain the same, let's say you have a combined state and federal tax bracket of 30%, and you have $1 million at the end of your working rainbow. Your pot of gold at the end of your working rainbow is $1 million. 30% tax would be $300,000. But if you're putting in X number a year, your tax will probably be $300,000 cumulatively. So it's the same thing, most people say. Except, what if they raise taxes? What if they lower the amount you can deduct? All these things are happening. Even with the Trump tax cuts, where we had to cut the marginal rate, some people paid more because they didn't get to deduct as much as they used to in the previous years. So some people got extra write-offs. Some people did not. What I'm seeing as I'm aging is a couple of things. Benefits are getting cut. Government benefits getting cut. Taxes are going up. And even if tax rates go down, the effective rate, what you actually pay, tends to go up because you can't deduct as much as you used to. So if you're like, well, all this RMD talk, it isn't for me, think again. If you have a 401k, one of the most important things you can do right now is plan whether you tax the seed or the harvest. Do you do Roths or do you IRAs? So you might not be 72 yet, or 70 and a half used to be the old age. But this is very important to you because a lot of the tax proposals being talked about are going to affect the tax deductibility of IRAs or 401ks. One of the things they're talking about is saying, if you make over a certain amount, you can't deduct that. You can't deduct that 401k contribution. Now, that's not law yet, but it's things being talked about that will eventually become law down the line. Here's why tax diversification, having some money in pre-tax, having some money in post-tax, and having some money in tax-free will make all the difference. You don't control tax rates. Your favorite uncle does. So we're going to get to some tax tips with regard to your RMDs. How do you reduce your RMD? Well, number one, you can take what's called a QCD. If you are planning on giving away money anyway, why not do it from your IRA? It doesn't count against your income, and it can fund your favorite church, shul, or charity. I've had a lot of clients, we say, they got to pay the shul, their tithe, their shul tax, and guess what? They get it out of their IRAs, and that doesn't count against their taxable income. If you are age 70 and a half, you may transfer up to $100,000 from your IRA to a charity tax-free. The QCD, as it's called, that stands for Qualified Charitable Distribution, will also satisfy your RMD, but without the tax hit. What is the next tax tip if you want to reduce your required minimum distribution? Number 1, QCD. Number 2, the still working exception. Well, let's say you are still working after the age of 72, and if you don't own the company where you work more than 5% of the shares, and the company offers a still working exception, you may be able to delay taking RMDs from your company plan until April 1 following the year after you retire. If your plan allows, you can roll over your pre-tax IRA funds to your 401k or 403b and delay RMDs until you're done. Just be careful. If you have an RMD for the rest for the year from your IRA, you must take it before you can roll over the rest of your funds back to the 401k. Same thing with Roths. If you do a Roth conversion, you got to take your RMD first, then you can convert the difference. So we talked QCDs, we talked still working exception. The next HULACs, and this is courtesy of the slot report. The website is IRAhelp.com, slot report, how you can reduce your RMDs. You have the beloved QLAC. QLAC is one of those things that nobody really does, but it's available for you. It's a product designed to help with longevity concerns. Any funds you invest in the QLAC are not going to be included in your balance when it comes to calculating your RMDs until you reach 85. So you could put up to $135,000 into a QLAC, and you don't have to take an RMD on that till you're 85. That's 13 more years of tax-deferred growth, and it protects you from outliving your nest egg. You can't outlive the income off of a QLAC. That's the very title of it. It's a qualified longevity annuity contract. So you want to shop around for those. The 25% limit is applied to each employer plan separately, but in aggregate to IRAs. What are some cautions to a QLAC? Want to make sure you do research on the claims paying ability of the underlying insurance company and the tie-up provisions. Sometimes you do a QLAC and you can't get out of it, so that's a risk. So make sure it's right for you before you go do it. But it can be a very powerful plan to maximize the amount that's growing tax deferred and to minimize the amount you have to pay on taxes. So folks, when we return from the break, we'll be talking about Roth IRA conversions and what we call the sweet spot. What is the sweet spot when it comes to minimizing the amount that you're going to have to take out down the line? Tip, we're talking about what if you're over 72. This will help you if you're between the ages of 59 and a half and 72. When we return, this is Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback. And folks, give us a call at 888-988-JOSH for our very own customizable game board. You know, what if you die? Where is your spouse going to get the money? Where are they going to know? Are your accounts organized? Do you have a nice net worth statement showing where everything is and who to call? We'll give you that right now. The 45-minute strategy session when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. And we'll give you a free book, The Inheritor's Guide. 888-988-JOSH when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. We'll be back after these messages. And we're back. This is Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback, talking about something called a Roth conversion, a Roth IRA conversion. Now, some people say, you know what, Josh, I make too much money to do a Roth. I went to my accountant and the Roth, the IRA. I told my accountant, I listened to Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback, and he said do a Roth. And my accountant said, sorry, you make too much money to do a Roth. Wrong. You can do a Roth conversion. So a contributory Roth, that's the amount you put in $6,000 a year, $7,000 if you're doing the catch up, if you're 50 and older. It's a great way to grow money tax-free. Pull it out tax-free for as long as you live. And when you die, there's another tax-free potential for 10 years. But let's say you make too much money to do a contributory Roth. You can do a conversion Roth. So powerful strategy. This is because you are not required to take RMDs from your Roth IRA during your lifetime. So that RMD is a pesky thing. If you don't like it, consider a Roth conversion. Here's the other thing. The 401k has come under attack recently. Have you seen these? Do you do TikTok, Ernesto?
I don't do TikTok.
I haven't done any TikTok videos yet. It's in the works. But partially because of all these things we have to do for it. But a lot of these people on TikTok now are denigrating the 401k. They're saying it's a lousy thing. Why? Because they're trying to sell you life insurance. So I'm a big fan of life insurance. We've talked about cash value life insurance as a viable tool for growth as long as it's with the right people. But these, I would say, more seedy individuals, and I'm not, signaling out, all of them are basically saying a 401k is horrible. Take all your money. Don't do a 401k. Don't get the deduction and do only life insurance. Now, the other thing, I do a lot of life insurance. I like it on my own life. Why? Grows tax deferred. I can pull it out tax free via policy loans. Loans in excess of basis are tax free if you do it the right way. If you do it the wrong way, could be consequences. You got to be careful. But there are people saying, you can make all this money in life insurance. They're not talking about the fees. They're not talking about the negatives. And they're sort of misleading people in my mind. So I'm not of that ilk. And one of the things they're saying is don't do a 401k. Put all your money in life insurance, which, it's a little odd to put it all in there because you lose out on deductions. But the good point of what they're saying is, do you know what, when you do a 401k, you're sort of making a deal with Uncle Sam. And you could have $1 million in your 401k, and if the tax rate's 40%, you don't have $1 million in that 401k. You have $600,000. But you got all this money growing tax deferred for you that you wouldn't have had unless you took the deduction. So be careful of TikTok videos. It can be something that you really want to be careful of when you're, doing financial planning. Hopefully you're not doing financial planning based on TikTok videos, Ernesto, or Instagram celebrities. But a Roth conversion, what's nice about that is there's no RMD and there's no taxes. So if you believe, like I do, that tax rates will be higher in the future and not lower, consider a Roth. Consider cash value insurance. It's a great way to tax diversify your money. It's just, I don't like the misleading stuff that I'm hearing. While conversion is a taxable event, you can exchange a one-time tax hit for a lifetime of never having to worry about taxes and RMDs again, according to current tax law. Keep in mind your beneficiaries will need to take RMDs from the inherited Roth. However, these distributions will most likely be tax-free for 10 years, according to the Secure Act. Then there's something called the sweet spot. Once you reach age 59 and a half, you can access your IRA monies without a penalty. From age 59 and a half to 72 is the sweet spot for IRA planning. The money is yours, penalty-free if you choose to take a distribution. However, you're not required to withdraw the specific amounts each year during the sweet spot, as you will once be when taking your RMDs at 72. So from age 59 and a half to 72, you can take money out of your IRAs and do a Roth conversion equal to what your RMD is going to be and sock away money and tax diversify. You can also take advantage of these years to take money from your IRA on your own schedule. If you are now retired and your income is lower, this may be the time to take taxable IRA distributions to reduce your RMDs later. You might also consider using these funds to purchase life insurance or to fund a health savings account if you're eligible. Benefit of a health savings account, by the way, is it's triple tax-free dollars. You get a tax break thrown in. You get a tax break on the way in. We got an Amber Alert on my phone. We hope they find little Sebastian. So if anybody, there is a young male been seen in a Ford Fiesta, 2-year-old boy apparently, last seen in Rahway, New Jersey. So hopefully little Sebastian is found. Sebastian, that's a name we were considering for our little child.
Have you made a choice yet?
We have not made a choice yet in the naming convention. We're still taking bets.
Is this the longest you've ever gone without naming a child?
I think so. But
make it a good one.
We got to make it a good one. So, folks, here's the thing. A Roth conversion, health savings account, a very powerful reason to do a health savings account is, hey, when you're old and decrepit, you're going to be spending money on your health. So why not sock it away tax-free, and it pulls out tax-free. Now, we'll tell you, a lot of people love health savings accounts who've never had one. I've had one. It's a little bit of a bear. I will tell you, it's not the panacea that everyone in politics says it is. We need better administration, better management of them, but the tax law is great. You get a write-off on the way in, it grows tax-free, and you get it pulled tax-free on the way out. And you're probably going to have to pay for your health expenses sometime in your life. So health savings account is one of the best tax things that people rarely do. Next, we're going to be talking about how to rebuild your personal finances during an economic recovery. This from a CNBC article dated July the 7th, 2021. There are many tips to get back on track. Maybe you're just like, how do I get back on track? COVID derailed me. I bought too many TVs from Walmart with my stimulus money. What happened to the Obama phones? Anybody have an Obama? I met somebody and my friend, he said he got an Obama phone. I didn't know they still gave them out. But number one, rebuild emergency savings. A rule of thumb followed by many financial experts is that people should have 3 to 6 months of living expenses in an emergency savings fund. But 13 months into a pandemic that's left millions unemployed, many people may be rethinking their savings goal. Number two, pay down debt. I'll give you 1.A, by the way. I'll give you my tips. Cut the stinking cable. Maybe keep your internet, but get rid of cable. Get rid of your phone bill. Go to these cheaper MVNAs. Ernesto, who do you use for your cell phone?
I use AT&T.
You can do an MVNA.
AT&T.
You can do an MVNA. Google MVNAs, and maybe you can save tons of money on MVNA. They use the networks, the infrastructure, and you can pay $40 a month, $20 a month, unlimited. Crazy deals right now on the MVNAs, and many people don't even realize them. They borrow their Verizon MVNAs, their AT&T MVNAs, their T-Mobile MVNAs. And then the next tip is pay down debt. It's a good tip. Another high priority financial goal that experts recommend is reducing debt. So if you got a stimulus check, if you got PPP, maybe you should pay down your CC, your credit card. Who's paying 26% interest? Stop it and just use that money to pay off credit card debt. People should come up with a game plan using one of many strategies, such as eliminating high interest debt first or focusing on the debt that is easiest to get rid of. There's the snowball method you could Google. There's the envelope method where you take little envelopes, you write down what they're for, and when you run out of money at the end of the month from your food envelope, you fast. And you'll lose a lot of weight, and it will teach you how to budget and allot for things. But the envelope method is really one of the best methods for budgeting that people don't do anymore. My older clients who happen to be Italian, for some reason, a lot of Italians do the envelope method. It's not a stereotype. It's just when I interview clients, they love that method. And many of them out of debt and have amassed great wealth through deploying the envelope method. And whatever background you're from, ethnicity, use the envelope method. If you are too techie, there's actually an app now called the envelopes method. It's another one.
QuickBooks has it.
There's QuickBooks has one. There's Mint. There's Quicken. A lot of people like the one called You Need a Life. YNAL. No, it's called You Need a Budget. YNAB. A lot of people say that's great. So we're going to take a short break. When we return, we'll be back with more of your calls at 888-988-JOSH. Oh, by the way, call us at 888-988-JOSH if you want the no obligation game board, but you got to schedule and keep your review. Don't just get this in the mail. This is customizable with your unique wealth blueprint on amazing. I've been using this so much, it's got a little crinkled. Yours will be beautiful. It will outline asset protection strategies, tax saving strategies, and potential growth. Are you going to be okay when you retire? Are you going to have enough money? Are you going to have enough income? Or are you going to have too much month at the end of the money when you're in retirement? That would be a bad problem. Then you would have to start repeating the phrase, welcome to Walmart. No disrespect to Walmart workers. But do you want that to be your retirement plan? Probably not. So give us a call, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH, and you get the free 45-minute strategy session. We'll be back after these messages. And we're back. This is Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback. So what budget questions do you have, Ernesto? What things are you feeling that a lot of people are struggling in light of the pandemic? Are you seeing that with friends?
I'm seeing a lot of small business owners still struggling to fill worker positions. A lot of restaurants, a lot of small businesses. There's a lot of help wanted signs still.
A lot of businesses just shut down. I mean, Blackbeard's Cave. I was going to take my son batting cages. Oh, it's gone. Is it back on yet? Did they start it up again? So, I mean, so many small businesses are suffering. I think they need to stop the unemployment extensions, probably. In some states, I think they have. There is no incentive for some of these people to get off of unemployment.
I think Wawa's offering, some of these companies are offering incentives like signing bonuses.
Yeah, well, they'll give you $500 if you get a vaccine, $500 if you sign up. It's really quite remarkable. Now you can make more money at Wawa than as a small business owner. There's something wrong in America. No disrespect to workers. They're all needed of all shapes and sizes, but it's like very, it's interesting. So, I mean, the bottom line is if that's you and you're listening saying, I am struggling, don't spend more than you make. Brown bag your lunch. Make your coffee. Cut the cable. Cut the credit cards. These are all things that are like basic things. Eat pork and beans. Beans and rice. Eat staples. Go to... don't go grocery shopping at Whole Foods. Go grocery shopping at Aldi. There's things that you can do to really get back control over your financial life. Cut incidentals. We cut, although I will tell you, to be honest, I miss the cleaning lady, but we cut the cleaning lady during COVID, not due to financial reasons, thank God. But my wife didn't want germs in the house because, the cleaning ladies have a kid and the kid has probably germs from daycare and then they get, and then our kid's sick. Now, I miss the cleaning lady. It's worth every penny for me. But maybe you have to get rid of the cleaning lady. Maybe you have to get rid of, or the cleaning man. I was a cleaning man, by the way. So
I did the cafeteria in school.
I was a cleaning man. When I was going to grad school. I loved cleaning houses. I did not find it... some people do find menial work or demeaning or labor. I loved cleaning people's houses. I don't know why. I found it very therapeutic.
It's a good
I
exercise.
did it as like a 21-year-old. I found it. I had a little house cleaning business. I forget what I called myself. I think it was like JAJ Enterprises or something. I had these grandiose ambitions to become like a commercial cleaner. For some reason, when I was growing up, if you had a commercial cleaning company, you made a lot of money. Like that was like a thing we aspired to. I don't know if that's really still the case, but that was like something that in the entrepreneurial world, like, man, if you could get these big commercial contracts, it was hard work. I think I would drive like an hour just to make $50. Those were the days. So
Small business, the engine of America.
So what do you do? You eliminate high interest debt and you focus on getting rid of the debt that's easiest first. You also want to plan for debt management. One of the things that we cover in our wealth game plan, we could cover cash flow management and debt management. So maybe you're like 5 years away from retirement and you don't want any debt when you retire. Call us and we can give you a debt repayment plan so that you can accelerate your plans so you can be debt-free by the time you retire. In the last few months, with a third round of stimuli, what do you call it? Stimuli now. 3 of them, stimuli checks, and tax refunds going out. Families could have extra dollars to employ or deploy. Some people are going to say, you're an idiot, Josh. Well, 3 stimulus would be stimuli, wouldn't it? So what have you done? Did you get any stimulus money?
I did not qualify.
I did not get any of the stimulus money. You really didn't get that?
Nope. Hard to believe, right? Upper middle class.
Did you,
I don't have kids. I didn't.
Did you file your taxes yet?
Not for last year. No.
Maybe you should. Maybe you'll get some extra money. I don't know. Some people it's because they didn't file their taxes. Some people it's because they didn't have kids. It's like I didn't get any of it. You know, I have too many kids, or I'm a successful small business, so no soup for you. With the third round of stimulus checks and tax refunds going out, families could have thousands of extra dollars to deploy. What are you doing with those extra dollars? Number 1, pay off debt. Number 2, put the money in a Roth. Some people may want to pay down their debt before they build up emergency savings or work towards both goals simultaneously. If people can afford to work towards multiple financial goals at once, they should, said this guy in this. That's dumb. There is a order of operations I'm going to give you, no offense to this article. A lot of people have to be single-minded and focused. You can't do multiple goals at once. For some reason, people's brain shuts off. So I'm going to give you my order of operations of what you do when first. Do you first pay down your debt or do you build your emergency fund? When we return, I'm going to reveal my answer to the question. But first, call us, 888-988-JOSH. Wouldn't it be nice? I feel like that Beach Boys song. Wouldn't it be nice if you could close your eyes and see your whole financial game plan arrayed on one easy to understand, beautiful game board? You may have chess pieces. You may have all these financial tools, but have you ever felt like you were pressing one foot on the gas pedal of your financial life and the other on the brake pedal? What do I mean by that? You max out a 401k for the deductions, and now everybody's saying do a Roth. And you go, no, I have all my money in tax deferred. What do I do with all the taxes? I forgot about that. And I'm 5 years away from retirement. Well, you call us, you get a plan. 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674. And when we return from the break, we'll be talking more about how to rework your budget for the new normal. Give you some more tips when we return. This is Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback. Don't touch that dial. And we're back. This is Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback. Last year was unusual. And for many, that resulted in drastic changes to your budget, whether people lost work. You know, people said that COVID didn't, like that they spent less. I spent more on COVID because, you're starting to like order delivery everything. And you know, all of a sudden, like delivery lunch. You ever do delivery lunch, Ernesto?
I did to work here today at the Financial Quarterback.
And how much was it? It was like $20.
$24, yeah.
What are you buying?
Just spaghetti and meatballs.
Well, let's just
Nothing
go through
fancy.
that. Spaghetti and meatballs. How would we save your budget $6? Well, I'll give you a tip. There's a place called BJ's down the road. You can get take-home meals, $6. You pick them up, you bring it, you pop it in the microwave. I don't know if they're pre-cooked or not. $6 take-home meals. So you got to do all these hacks now to save money, though. And you would have saved like
$24.
24 minus 6, you would have saved $18.
18, yeah.
That's not bad. You do that every day, you'll be a millionaire in no time. You ever do this calculator? Save $18 a day, save a lot of money. If you save $18 a day, let's do that. But now, thank you for your honesty, because if I'm honest, that's me too. Or then you throw in a Starbucks, or you know, it's like $5. The other day, I was like ready to kiss the person at Starbucks because they didn't ring up my order the way it normally was, and it was like $2.75, which is still a lot of money. So think about this. If you can save $18 a day, maybe it's not every day, maybe it's 5 days. Okay, that's $90 a week. You times that by 52 weeks a year, that's $4,680 a year. Do that for 30 years with no interest, that's $140,000. If you do that with interest, probably like $400,000 or $500,000. That's amazing. So you got to think wisely. The other thing you got to do that I would look at is, and that's the whole idea of brown bagging it, because then you save more. Meal prep, taking a whole course on meal prep, because I want to lose some extra pounds. So there's no better way to do that than meal prep, because they throw butter into this and this into that. You're like, why am I gaining all this weight? Because you're eating so much takeout all the time. And they're putting extra butter on the bacon and extra butter on the bacon. Putting extra butter on the salmon.
There's some butter
putting
on that
extra butter on the asparagus. Putting extra butter on the broccoli. So not only are you going broke, you're getting fat too. So meal prep is a great way to save money financially. And a lot of these things like you can do to make things taste good. You know, like getting some... I want to say paprika. It's not like who uses paprika. Use like turmeric and ginger and things that are calorie free but have some taste. I don't know about you, but
Ginger's great.
Ginger,
Fresh ginger,
you
sure.
do a lot of stuff like that to spice it. A little garlic, a little this. You don't always need the butter. Maybe a little butter, but not. You don't want to go crazy there. But here's the point, my friends. You got to be like, if you really are struggling financially, you want to take like zealous steps to get ahead, I think. So what else? What are there? Any other questions on this area of budgeting? Here's the thing. This is a tip. The article says it's important to be careful not to let your excitement that you're now being let out of your house by the government lead to overspending. So people are getting so excited, you know, they're spending. I did some research work. So the average vacation went from like, you know, usually you go to the shore for a week, it's $5,000 or $6,000. Now, you know how much it is now? It's like 8 to 10. Landlords are jacking the rents up because so your vacation now is costing you 30 to 40% more. It's not just inflation, it's those landlords. It's also a good idea to check to see if the cost of certain goods and services are the same or have changed due to the pandemic. Be mindful of inflation. Things might cost more, says Marissa Bradbury for this article that I was using as the inspiration for the segment. Really factor in what inflation is going to be, what you think you have and what you budget. So you got to be careful about inflation. You know, maybe, you know, you're going to add a deck. Let's say you're going to add a deck to the house. Maybe you wait a year. I mean, do you really have to buy it at the price of the highest point of lumber? Apparently, I gave that tip a while ago. Somebody called and said, oh, I want to use this. And I said, wait a month or two. It'll be cheaper. It's cheaper already. So lumber's way cheaper than it was 2 months ago. Be patient. Do you really need that? If you do have money to allocate to fund things such as entertainment, shopping, or travel, you may want to check back in with your budget and set aside specific amount to guard against overspending. This is especially important for those in retirement living on a fixed income. You also want to recalibrate and revise your financial goals. Maybe if you were hammered, maybe you got to push out retirement a couple of extra years. Now, not necessarily the clients that we have. We looked forward to that, so they didn't have to delay retirement. I always think it's a great idea. Well, your plan stunk, so you got to delay retirement. Well, hopefully you don't want to delay retirement. We could help you with that. People should reassess their long-term financial goals. Now, it's nothing wrong if you were going to delay retirement, by the way. I'm just saying that sometimes delaying retirement may mean you need a new advisor because you don't have a proper income plan. Even as the economy recovers, getting back to pre-pandemic finances won't happen overnight, and people should be aware of that and adjust their expectations accordingly. I talked about what I call the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You remember that thing in math? The order of operations. There's an order of operations when it comes to money. Order number one, get insurance. Equal to 2/3 of your income for disability and a minimum of 10 to 20 times your income in life insurance. Because if you have kids or a spouse and you die or get disabled, they are hurt. So you need to get that set up before you start your emergency fund. Then you go to your emergency fund, which is 6 months in the bank, liquid. If you don't have 6 months, try to get a month. If you have a month, get 3 months. Then you start saving in a 401k or things like that. Then you start repaying your credit card debts. Because the whole idea of why you should have an emergency fund before you start prepaying your credit cards is because if you lose your job or you have a period of time where you're struggling, it's better to tap that than to get more into credit card debt. That's the whole reason why an emergencies fund actually precedes debt repayment. Now, you might say, well, I want to take money that was going into 401k or IRA and divert that to debt repayment. That's fine, but make sure you're taking advantage of the full 401k match. If you don't have a match, well, it's easier. Then maybe you polish off the debt first. And you want to polish off the high consumer credit card debt first. I'm Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback, inviting you to call us right now at 888-988-JOSH for the no obligation consultation. And we will give you our very own customizable model at no charge. And you get the income for life blueprint when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. So maybe you're like, well, I know I'm doing fairly well, but I don't know if I can do it. You're thinking about retiring next year, maybe in 3 years, maybe in 5 years, and you're like, Josh, can I really do it? I know I've accumulated a lot of money, but I make, there are people we talk to, they make a lot of money, but they only have, X number saved, and that X number may not be what they think they can live on. Well, that's exactly why you want to call us for the Income for Life Blueprint. Call us right now, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-5674, 888-988-JOSH, and you get the free book and the 45-minute wealth blueprint when you schedule and keep your no obligation review. Call me now, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH, 888-988-JOSH. Make sure you catch us on the iHeartRadio app, Spotify, YouTube. On YouTube, just search for Josh Jalinski, the financial quarterback. And as always, thank you for watching this and listening on WOR and iHeartRadio app and wherever podcasts can be found. 888-988-JOSH. Give us a call. I'd love to meet with you. 888-988-5674. 888-988-JOSH.